What's up, guys? My name is Rocko Beall. I'm a guitarist, music director, run Playback for a country artist, Alexandra Kay. And I just wanted to talk to you about my Ableton set list, give you some tips and tricks, and yeah, hopefully you have some fun doing it. So yeah, basically, quick story for you, I guess. When I did the audition to play for her, I was auditioning as a guitar player. She called me. She said I got the job, and she's like, "Do you know how to run Ableton, or do you know anything about Ableton?" I was like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I used to use it in high school, and making, bad beats and demos in high school with my high school band, and I was working in Pro Tools. I knew a decent amount about recording, and I was working in Pro Tools. I've worked in all kinds of different DAWs, but they all kind of work the same. They all have their little, differences. But I just I said yes, and it's been a journey ever since. And I YouTube University'd a lot of this stuff, and learned a lot from colleagues and other people in the business. So now I got this Ableton session. This is what we use live, and I got it in a really good place. We're using the setlist plugin now, which looks a little something like this. And you can see, basically, let me just take you through the session really quick. So I have pretty much every song in here that is in her catalog, basically. It's like 40 songs or something like that. Maybe less. I think it's around 40. And it's all alphabetical order. So if we kind of go down, you can see All I Ever Known, right? That's like the first song in the alphabet of hers. And it's all grouped together, and here's all the stems, right? And we can just keep going down. It just keeps going, All the Cowboys, Back Road Therapy, Best Worst Sex, all these kind of things, right? So the first track that we have here is our setlist plugin, right? This runs on Max for Live. So you have to have, we're an Ableton 12 suite, and you have to have Max for Live. You have to buy this plugin, but I'll tell you right now, it has made my life so much easier with this, because all these things show up, all these songs show up, and you use these locators, right? That's a bad song example. Let me show you this one. So you just use these locators. And when you make these locators, I just moved it, there we go. And you press refresh, it will show up, easy intro edit, right? There it is. And if you want to add it into the set, all you do is add to set list, right? It's already in there. So then you can remove, you could move it up or down, right? So these locators just play from that part of your whole set list, right? So it's really easy to adjust stuff on the fly. You can loop stuff really easy. At the end of all these songs, like, there's these locators that you can say play next. So if I were to play the end of this song, it just goes straight into the next song, right? Which that one is also called Easy, which is awkward. And then there's, let's see, I could tell you, loops, the play next, which is really important. You could also do things called auto stop. So when you play the song, it just stops, right? So that just it gives us a bunch of tools when you're making a set list, in different sets, from a 30-minute set, 40-minute set. There'll be times when AK will come up to me and she's like, "I don't want to play this song anymore. I want to play whatever." It's just super easy. "Oh, you don't want to play Easy anymore? Okay, cool. We'll remove that. We'll add this one in instead," right? So all that stuff makes using setlist really convenient for a touring act, Instead, if you didn't have a setlist manager like this, then you would have to go in and highlight the whole entire song, copy and paste stuff, move it around. It ends up just being a pain. So setlist is really great for all that. Why don't I just kind of take you from top to bottom in the setlist in my whole project and kind of show you what I'm doing here. So this is the setlist track. So this is where the plugin lives. I have it up here. We already talked about that. Right here is the tempo track. And basically, I use a tempo track to automate tempo changes in Ableton. There's many ways to do this, but basically if I just played a little bit of this song, you can see up here it's saying 79 BPM, right? And if we go into the main, how do we do this? We're going to go into the main. Oh, well, I can't figure it out, but it's set 79 BPM, and then when I go to the next song, switches to 58, right? So on and so forth. 148. And basically, if I pull up one of these clips, which all they are is, let's go over here. All they are is an audio track. And let me go to one that's cleaner. So if we pull this up, it's just an audio track, right? And what you got to do is you turn the volume down. It should be this. It should be the whole length of your song or your arrangement, right? The whole length. And what you got to make sure that warp and lead is turned on, and turn this all the way down. And when you press this lead button, it acts as the leader, right? It will follow the tempo. It will follow the tempo, and it will make sure that everything that you're playing is going to be automated at this tempo. So that's how you kind of manage different tempos in one Ableton project, right? Because usually when you open an Ableton project, you could just, you know, drag it to whatever you want, type it in. But when you have it automated like this, then you can have a plethora of different tempos, and it makes it really easy. So that's going on there. On this track we have click 1. So if I solo this real quick, let's play a little bit of this. This is like our 8th note kind of click track, and that's just a MIDI click that we have going on over here. And if I highlight this, you can kind of see. Intro 2, 3. Right? That's giving us our 8th notes. And I'm just drawing that in and, you know, looping it to the entire song. Click 2 down here. This is like our quarter note tempo. And I've just noticed that having 2 is just like, it's better than 1, right? It's something that everyone in our group really likes, because then it's like really hard to get off beat. Because we used to just have this 8th note tempo, which was terrible. It's really high pitched and really easy to get off time. It can, you know, sounds really close to the hi-hat. So having like a cowbell and having kind of this shaker kind of thing is been working out really great for us to make sure we're staying on time. Going down here, this is where we have our guide track or cues tracks, and intro 2, 3, right? 4. It's giving you all of these. Verse 2, 3, 4. And I have this set up in a way where, you know, I could click anywhere. Like say the artist is like, hey, take me to chorus 2. All I have to do is click on this clip right here. 2, 3, 4. And it gives you a 4 count to go wherever you want. So she's like, take me to the down chorus. Down chorus. 2, 3, 4. Makes it really convenient there. Keep going down, we have a stop track. This is something that I utilize with looping, and we can touch on that a little bit more later, but I'm using the IEC driver to do some MIDI commands to turn the guide track on and off. We could just show you really quick. So here's Die Bar Dreamer, right? Intro 2, 3, 4. Song's going, here comes the loop. So what you see, the loop went on and then the guide track also came off. So this can go and she could talk as long as she wants. And then when she's ready to come in. Intro 2, 3, 4. We go into the song like that. So you notice I kind of hit the loop button manually, and I also hit this manually, we usually have a controller on stage where all we have to do is hit one button, and I have some MIDI commands, so it does both at the same time, right? Okay, so here with the patch changes, this is a MIDI track, and basically it's coming out of, we use a Play Audio 1U interface, and my pedal board has it to receive. So let me think about this. So it's coming, MIDI commands are coming out of our interface into my pedal board, right? So I have this coming out of MIDI channel 4, which on my pedal board, I have it to receive messages on channel 4 as well. So what I have here is I have these little clips, which you can kind of just create by clicking on it, right? And it's tough because if you have a Helix, if you have a Kemper or an Axe Effects, or like I use just like a regular pedal board with like a loop switcher, all of them are going to be a little different to program. So you might just have to look up a little bit on how your specific pedal board does this, but it's kind of the same. So if you see here under this tab of the clip section, I'm saying bank 3, program 6, right? So
intro 2, 3, 4.
That's going to be like a big lead sound. That's actually a duplicate. That's also program 6 too. So I can actually go like this and drag it over. And then right here at the verse, right? I want a cleaner guitar tone. So it's like I have it programmed on bank 3, preset 2 of my controller. Goes into, changes a whole bunch of different effects. So right when it hits this clip, it will MIDI change my controller for me without pressing it. And that just continues on. So right when I get to the pre-chorus,
2, 3, 4.
Boom, you see there right here, the start of this clip, goes to program 3, right? This is like which song I'm on. Bank 3 is which bank. I usually, like in my pedal board, I have like a bank per song, right? So this is bank 3, the next one's gonna be bank 4, so on and so forth. And then my program changes, I have like 6 different presets. That's what it is. It's changing the preset. So this will be my 3rd preset of this song, right? And then, so that's changing there. When I get to the chorus, it's going to preset 4. And you can get really involved. Like I have, let's see, where is it on? So like this is the middle of the chorus, right? Oh, let's go to the pre-chorus right here.
Pre-chorus 2, 3, 4.
Oh wait, which song? Let me find the song. Tall Boys. Let's go to Tall Boys real quick. This is just, you can kind of already see all the different clips that you can see right here. This is just an example of how like crazy you can get with the patch changes. Let's go to, let's go to verse 2 right here. Let's go to verse 2. Let's see right here. Program 3, program 2, program 3, program 2, program 5, back to 2. So that was like 5 different like foot switch presses, you know, if I was playing live, which I just have it all automated in Ableton, so I don't have to do anything, I can just play. And when you do it for the first time, it is literally the most life-changing experience because you just see your pedal board lights just change and you're not doing anything. Yeah, it's the best. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Like I said, it's sending out of my interface MIDI commands, right, into the input of X device. And like I said, so these are MIDI clips, but Sometimes, like when I used to do it on a Helix, and I would send PC messages, and I would also send CC messages. These are just PC messages right here, just program change messages. But if you need to do CCs, like I said, I would just YouTube University that thing, because like every time that I need to figure out how to do something on a different device, that's what I did, and it just works out. Basically, if you wanted to set something like this up, all you do is you go to create a MIDI track. Okay, there she is. You could right click, make it blue if you wanted to, like me. Command R, patch changes. So you make this patch change MIDI track, right? And like I said, all you do is you could double click onto the timeline here, and then double click that, go over here. What do you want? Bank 4, program 7. And when the timeline hits this, it's gonna hit your pedal board. Yeah, so there's that. Okay, so this track we have time code, and basically time code sounds like a very confusing thing, but it's really not. It's really just something that our LD will send me. He'll program to this hour of time code. He'll send it to me, usually over AirDrop, and I'll toss it in this track. It comes out of output 11, goes into one of our snakes over to him. So when we press play on our end, it's matched up to him. So you really don't have to worry about it. It's just something that needs to be in the session if you're running lights. And basically at rehearsals, you guys just kind of make sure that it's lined up in the right way. Like you can kind of see here, like we had to nudge it a little bit over here so it would line up perfectly. But other than that, it just plays, right? And if he's getting signal, that means that it's working with his lights. This is a channel that I have for LifeSign, which is a plugin for, that iConnectivity uses to run 2 computers at once, which we started doing. Which if your computer gets unplugged from your interface, or the cable gets unplugged, it just automatically fails over to the second computer that has the same exact session, so you don't miss a beat, and you know, everything will keep going. You'll still have tracks in front of house, my patch changes will still work, the LD will still receive time code. It's a good way to make sure that the whole entire ship doesn't go down, right? And this is a plugin that you have to download, and basically it's sending a sine wave, or it's like sending audio, and when it detects that audio drops out for a certain millisecond that you could kind of decide on and mess around with, it will automatically switch over. And on iConnectivity, you need this set to output 15 for the Play Audio 1U. But again, every interface is different. Like I'm pretty sure that the Play Audio 12 is 13 or something, so there's a little bit of discrepancies there, but you just need this plugin here. You need to make sure that it's giving signal. It's not going on one of our outputs. It's just, you know, front of house isn't getting that, or monitors not getting that. It's just there to make sure it works. Okay, and then we start getting into all of our stems, right? And like I said, I have all these songs here in alphabetical order for the most part. If we talk about our first song here, All I Ever Known, here's all the stems, right? From this first one to the last. And I have them all grouped, and then I have it going right here. You could choose, you want to choose, the way that I do it is sends only. So you hit sends only, and then you can see down here I have all of these return tracks from A, B, C, D, E, right? And I have them, we use 12 track lines. So we use 1 is click, 2 is guide, labeled down here, percussions 3 and 4, keys is 5 and 6, guitars 7 and 8, background vocals 9 and 10. I have time code coming out of 11 and bass on 12. So this gives us the ability to send things wherever we want. You know, sometimes, or just for an example, right here is the percussion track of All I Ever Known.
Intro 2.
right? And if you notice down here, they have all these little kind of, I don't know what you call it, like a button. It's not a button. It's like a slider that you could send information down different return tracks. So right now this is coming A, B, C, D, E. If I wanted to send this through the guitars line, or sorry, the keys line, I would just move this one here. Now you can see it's coming through guitars. You can send it anywhere you want. So this is really useful because sometimes like our front of house guy will be like, oh, there's this like keyboard part that I want to high pass differently or whatever. And he's like, take it out of the keys track and just put it in the bass tracks, right? Or, you know, it just gives you a lot of flexibility. If it's like, since you're still having a lot of audio grouped together, like 12 lines seems like a lot of lines to do tracks, but when front of house guys are EQing these track lines differently, or like even for volume discrepancies, they'll like tell me all the time, like, hey, move this percussion part to the keys line or whatever, you know? So that gives you a ton of flexibility. And then while you do that, say we play CMA Fest or like some, you know, throw and go festival, and they'll be like, well, all we have is 4 track lines. I'll be like, okay, no problem. I'm gonna move. Well, you can see we're not plugged into the interface right now, but like this would be on 3 and 4. This would be on 5 and 6. I can move all of these to 3 and 4. I could go like this, highlight. They're all in 1 and 2 because that's all we're coming out of right now. But it gives us the flexibility to move all of these, collapse 12 lines into 4, or I could turn them all into 8. I could, you know, any number, just by having all of these groupings right here into different outputs. So let's just kind of go down, you know, this is the session of the hometown show that we did in St. Louis for our artist. So this is the first song on our set. It's, let me just play it for you so you can kind of hear.
Meet me in St. Louis, me.
Right, so you notice I hit start on this and it started playing this intro track, right? Cupid STL. This is like a specific intro that we made for the hometown show. So this is all the stuff I have. Right, I have like this kind of old time thing. We started playing another song.
So feel me when I bring it, sing it loud. I'm from the loop and I'm proud.
Now we're getting into the intro. So like we walk on stage right about here. Here comes the cue. And now we're getting into playing the song.
All in. 2, 3, 4.
Cool. So as you notice, this is a separate group than this. This is just the intro track, but it doesn't matter that these are grouped together, right? It just matters where this locator is, because it's going to start playing music from this locator. And you notice like this area right here, this is like the stems that I got from the mixing engineer, which, you know, I've cut and pasted and adjusted to the live arrangement a little bit. But this top part up here is all stuff that I just kind of basically produced, you know, dragged all these different samples, ripped some of these songs from YouTube, etc. I have some scratchy stuff, you know, a bunch of other stuff.
When I bring it, sing it loud. I'm from the loop and I'm proud.
A lot of this stuff I got from Splice. I love using Splice for effects, samples, etc. And then this gets into this little other part that I produced too. You can see there's some volume automation going on. So here's the drone. Kind of a pad. So you notice that this track in particular, I just sold, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And since it's kind of doing this like filter sweep, I kind of had to export everything and collapse it down to one to fit for this track. Right? And then we come in. Okay, so we're going to play through all of that song. And then you notice once we get to the end here, setlist is really cool because it gives you the ability to, it's all about the locators, right? So I have another locator, which let me just show you. If you wanted to add a locator in Ableton, you hit this set button up here. Click on it. And for setlist, if you want to go into the next song, you would type play next in all caps. No space. So once you do that, you can drag that anywhere you want. I have it right here at the end of the song, so make sure that, yep. So if we're getting towards the end of the song, let me drag it a little bit further down. Why not? This would just be the band on stage is playing something without track, but we're still on click. Bop, bop. And it goes straight to the next song.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Right? And you can see, if I were to play, like manually hit backroad therapy, it's called backroad therapy, it automatically highlights the next song. So whatever song that has this highlight, it's going to play that song. So once we get to the end of backroad therapy, I have another play next locator here. And you'll notice if I take it from near the end, boom, it highlights the next song. So you notice these play next locators are super convenient because it's jumping from backroad therapy, which is way over here in our Ableton project, all the way to More Than You, which is like, you know, on the complete opposite side of the project. So it makes jumping around all over the place super convenient. Let's go back to this More Than You song, which I could also do just by double clicking. Oops, not that one.
3.
More Than You. Okay.
All in 2, 3, 4.
So another cool feature Setlist plugin can do is what's called auto stop, which will just stop the song. And boom. And then, you know, it gives the artist time to talk. Our drummer runs Playback. He's operating the Playback system, so I'm free on stage to play guitar. But if you notice, we just played 3 songs and we only had to press play on the set once, which we did. If you can notice, it says keyboard. We run a little tiny MIDI controller off stage with a 50-foot MIDI cable, and we just press play on that thing, which will trigger Ableton. And we just played 3 songs and didn't have to press anything. So now that there's a stop, right? So whenever the artist is done giving the speech, right, we can start that song.
2, 3, 4.
And in we go. And if you notice, towards the end, what do I have again? It's a play next button. So let's take it from the outro.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
Cool. And now what you notice is that we're looping this. So this is another really cool setlist plugin. It's another really cool thing the setlist plug can do is it makes looping stuff in Ableton really easy. And all you have to do, and again, it's these locators right here, is you just set a locator. Oops, I just deleted that one. Let's go here. Let's go somewhere not there. Set, Command R, all caps. It's got to be all caps. Loop, space, and the amount of bars that you want. So in this case, we wanted 16, right? And once hit refresh, and once it hits this locator, it will drag Ableton's loop right to the locator. So we don't want that here. Let's show you in context. We're going to hit refresh. Let's turn this off. See how it just jumped? Right when you get to this loop button, it will jump. Let's just play it. I have this track in red just so it's easy for our drummer to see where it's looping. And when we're ready to go, hit a button.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
And we're in to play the rest of the song. So this is another kind of thing I had to do for the setlist plugin. What happens is that when you play with cues in your ears, right? If I didn't have this MIDI command to turn this guide off, it would sound like this, right?
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
And that cue saying intro would be in our ears, but it's still looping, so it would get really confusing. So,
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
you know, if I'm on stage, I might start playing the intro because I'm thinking that we're going into the song, but we're not. So what I had to do is I had to use this. I programmed E-2 on a MIDI clip, and I programmed that, and let me show you here. If I go to MIDI, E-2, right? Let's see, E-2, guide. It turns the guide speaker on and off. Okay, so now that we programmed that MIDI clip, it gives us this effect. The guide is muted, the loop turns on via set list, and now this can just roll and roll and roll. See, notice how it didn't say intro? So then when we're ready to go into the song, like I said, we have this Morningstar switcher, or I guess it's a MIDI controller rather, and I programmed one button, so when I hit it, it turns the loop off, and it also turns the guide on. So if we were gonna show you that, here's the loop going.
2, 3, 4.
And we're into the song.
Verse, 2, 3, 4.
And you notice that like the click's going, but there's really not that much tracks happening. And this is like a whole nother tangent, right? Of like, just because you get the tracks for the song definitely doesn't mean that you need to use all of them. If you notice here, like the drums obviously muted. There's a synth bass part, but it just, you know, I think our front of house probably said that we didn't need it, you know? There's also a case to like, you know, making your own live arrangement, right? So you don't always have to play things like textbook just to the record. Like give the audience something cool and different that they have to come to the live show to see, right? So the synth bass is muted. We got a little bit of percussion. Got this keys part in here. some keyboard or organ, a pad that comes in later, some strings, the acoustic guitar part, which is muted as well because I'll be playing that live. Some electrics and steel. They gave us a vocal effect stem, which, you know, is like the vocal with all of like the effects that they have on it, but we didn't use that either. And then the lead vocal. So there's a bunch of stuff muted, as you can see, and that's just what sounded best for when we play it live. Let's see here. So if we keep going, we got another play next, which is going to skip this part.
1, 2, 3, 4. Intro 2, 3, 4.
Right? So as this whole intro to this song was something that we just kind of, you know, made into our own live arrangement where we just like kind of doubled. We had
1, 2, 3, 4.
this kind of arpeggiated keys part, some percussion, some vocals. We also had this little riser that I put in here to start it off. And then we get into the song.
Verse 2, 3, 4.
So like producing all those little intros and stuff like that can really add a lot to your live show as well. So go down to skip this part. If we play the end of that, go to the setlist plugin. Straight into another song, She Stayed.
Intro 2, 3, 4. Verse 2, 3, 4.
And again, like all that stuff at the beginning was just stuff that I produced that wasn't in the stems that he sent me. And you could see down here, if we go down to She Stayed, I'll have a group that says She Stayed intro, right? So we have this kind of keys part.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
And this is just some acoustic guitars that I just ripped from the stems just to, you know, give the band a little bit more instrumentation on stage. Okay, so then we do She Stayed. And there's an auto stop. And again, this is all via setlist, right? No one's pressing stop on a pedal or any of that stuff. It's all through the setlist app, which makes playing live honestly a lot easier. It's a lot less work for the drummer or whoever's operating the playback rig to keep, you know, having to start stop stuff, having to, you know, go to the next song. And we still have that ability, like we still could do that, but there's something to be said about like the flow of a set. When you guys rehearse and decide that like this song's gonna go straight into the next, we're gonna stop here so she can talk. We're gonna have a loop here so it's like not awkward on stage. It's all this stuff that adds to the professionalism of the set, you know what I mean? And it's been a work in progress, but the setlist plugin really makes life a lot easier and all of these things that you want to do simpler. So yeah, shout out setlist plugin. Let's go to the last.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Let's pull this up. So again, this is another intro that I created. You can see this is from the stems. I took this little percussion part. Same with the keys. Same with this little vocal effect here. I think some of these, honestly, I think that I played a lot of these synth patches just on a MIDI keyboard with like Ableton 12 Suite, like stock instruments, and that's how I created this. And if you notice, like I said, I made it with a MIDI controller, but I convert everything to audio. And that's another really big thing, is you want every single piece of audio that I have running in this session right now is all at 48K 24-bit. And it's really important to keep everything that you're playing at the same sample rate, because it just makes your computer work hard. Ableton, I'm pretty sure, can like convert stuff, but for the sake of the computer running at maximum efficiency, you want it to work as least hard as it can, right? You want it to run easy and flow, and you don't want to put strain on your computer. If you notice, like there's like this whole session is like 35 gigs or something like that, and like our CPU it's at 2%, right? It's like it's barely hitting. So all that stuff's really important. All that kind of busy work or, grunt work really pays off in the end. If you guys are running into issues with like your computer crashing and stuff like that, make sure that all your audio is the same sample rate and bit depth. Yeah, that alone will help a lot. So where were we? We're at the last, pull it up here.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
I'm usually I'm doing like a little guitar solo on top of this as well, and she's saying a few words, and it's just kind of an ethereal kind of track to get us into the song. Fog pad.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
You notice it said intro, but you don't really hear anything happening because
3, 4.
a lot of this stuff's muted. As you can see, like I do this a lot. You don't always have to mute the whole track, right? So here's the acoustic stem.
4.
Right?
Verse, 2, 3.
Well, I don't need that because I'm playing that part live. So what you can do is you could chop this, right? So I chopped it right here. Command E will chop stuff for you. And then you can just zero. You press 0 and it can mute and unmute. So that's really helpful. I do that a lot. So I don't need this. This is all muted. And then when I get to the chorus, right?
4.
I want those acoustics to kind of give some more, balls to the band, or lack of a better term. Here's another thing that I did. This is this is the fiddle stem. Right, it's a cool fiddle solo, but we don't have a fiddle player, so I'm gonna do my best to copy that as on stage. So that would be like the solo moment. So I just cut that in half and muted that bit, and then I just let the fiddle track go for the rest of the song because it was needed. I did the same thing here. Let's see, this is probably. Yeah, that's like kind of a half fiddle, half steel solo. So both of those are muted. And there you go. So play that. We got an auto stop, right? And then that will, you notice I'll put here, it says like best works, best worst, and it will say trigger. And that's a cue for the drummer to look at this plugin and go, oh, song is next, and it says trigger, so I have to, it's not going to play into the next one. I have to manually press start. One more thing when I can touch on it too, setlist is really cool because you can go in here, and if you, so you notice I have best worst, in parentheses I have trigger, which is a cue for the drummer, and then you do this little slash and you could type in how long the song is. So that is super convenient when, like, you know, management is like, oh, we have a 30-minute set, and if you notice, if I click on the top, it says this whole set's an hour and 18 minutes. So if you do this for each and every song, you know, you can easily, you know, say it was an hour set. I could just like remove a couple until I get to like 50 minutes or 55, you know. And that is super convenient because I used to in the past, like, I'd have a thing in my notes app and I'd be like, oh, back row therapy 334, so on and so forth. And I'd like go on and like add them all up to figure it out. And like, it's just like, again, another thing that the setlist plugin makes it really life really easy. Okay, so here's best worst sax. Wow, that is really hot. Let's turn that down a little bit. That's another thing, like you notice, like I remember turning this up at the gig we played the other day because it just wasn't hitting. But previously, this show, our front of house guy was like, can you just go into the stems real quick and turn this bass down because it is just ripping the system right now. So it's like, sometimes it's easier for me to just like go in and manually turn things up or down than like the front of house guy to like automate the bass track up for this song, you know what I mean? So that's why it's really nice to have all the stems, you know, compared to just like a 2-track. If you when you probably start out, like you're probably like, oh, here's our click track and maybe a cue track or guide track and then like a 2-track. Well, if you have a 2-track, you can't really adjust stuff on the fly. So I mean, it works when you're getting started, but it could, you know, this is just like ultimate flexibility to have like everything at your fingertips to adjust. Here's a little vocal.
In 2, 3, 4.
And then the song starts. Okay. There's the end of the song. Play next. Oops. So you notice right there, I just made a mistake because it went to Cupid because that's where my set list was highlighted. But again, when you're playing the song, you don't really run into issues like that because, you know, you're just going down the set list. I'm kind of moving around a lot, so that's why it's doing that. But so this is something that I made for the intro of Feminine Energy. Kind of ripped some Crazy Train stuff for it.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
And then the song comes in. So if you notice, these are all the stems that I got from the mixing engineer, which, side note, I recommend that you get your stems from the mixing engineer and not the producer, because the sound quality is just better because it's like mixed stems versus not mixed stems. The volume of certain instruments will get you closer to where you want to be, right? Another thing, just like tangent to talk about, is if you get your stems from the mixing engineer, like in my head when I first like asked for that, I was like, oh, perfect. Like I won't have any issues with like volume adjustments or anything. Like I should just be like drag and drop and like it should sound like the record. Well, it's like, no, like you want to use your ear for everything. Like I'll be going through this stuff and I'll be like, oh, that guitar is like 4 dB way too loud, and just turn it down. You know, like trust your judgment on this. Like part of being the music director, Ableton dude, right, is like you're pretty much mixing all these stems too, right? Like in the past, someone would be like, someone on our campus, like, we should just get all of our tracks mastered, right? Because we were having issues with tracks being too loud or too soft, and I would urge you to not do that, because when you're mastering your tracks, it's like set in stone, right? It's like I'm continuously mixing my tracks on the daily, you know, and every front of house guy that we get, you know, is going to tell me something different. So it's like you want to have that flexibility to turn things up, like, you know, 4 dB, 6 dB. It's like front of house guys tell me that all the time, like that bass track needs to come down or whatever. So yeah, and another thing, like just use your ear, right? Like what I like to do is I like to bounce around. When I'm like, Feminine Energy was like a song that we just, like a brand new song that we started doing, and like honestly when I dragged it in here, like the track was kind of all over the place, so it took me a while to turn stuff up or down, but I continuously go like this. I'll go to like right? I'll try to find like the loudest part of the song. And I'll A-B it, right? You could use like meters and stuff, but like use your ear. And then right here, if you notice like on the group, here's Feminine Energy. You have this like global master volume pretty much. And I'm just like continuously touching that, turning that up or down to kind of making sure everything's sitting around the same. And like, you don't want it all to be like exactly the same. Like it's live music, you want dynamics, you want things to be really loud, you want to go really soft, right? So again, like another reason why I would say it's not a great idea to like master your tracks. Okay, so then Feminine Energy, we're hitting another play next into another song.
Drum 2, 3, 4. Bass 2, 3, 4.
And you also notice like some of this stuff isn't that clean, right? It's like, here's the tempo track. I just kind of clicked and dragged because like I just edited this on the fly. You know, if it works, it works. You know what I mean? Like even the click tracks, like I copy and paste, you know, I'll go like this, copy, boom, boom. It doesn't matter, right? It's still the same thing. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like some of this stuff, like if I was being really anal, I'd go like this, hit Command J, consolidate it. This, Command J, consolidate it. But like, it doesn't really matter, right? No one in the audience is judging your performance based on how neat your Ableton session is. As long as everything is correct and works, you know. And if it's organized, like I'm really big on organizing too. Like this is a whole nother can of worms, but like in my whole Ableton set list, right? I have everything in here, but I don't make edits in here. I have in a folder right over here, Ableton projects. Every single time I get stems for a song, I create an Ableton project and I drag them in with this template that I have. Tempo track, click 1, click 2, guide, stop, pat changes. And I think it's that. And as long as that's the same and I drag it in there and then I drag and drop and I put it into the, for instance, like if I just showed you really quick, I'll just like go open this up and I'll drag this in. And then close down the group. Here it is. See, tempo track, click 1, click 2, guide, stop track, patch changes. So what I'll do is, here's another good tip, right? So here's Feminine Energy. What I'll do, here's really good key commands for you. Or they're not really key commands, let's see. Insert and delete time, right? Create, insert silence. Like, just like if it's a whole song, I usually do like 164 bars or whatever. And look what I did. It added all this space for me to create. I didn't have to like copy and paste anything. And I could also do this, I could also do the same exact thing. So let's go to edit. Where is it? Here, sometimes it's a little finicky. Oh, I have to highlight it. You highlight something, go to edit, delete time, boom, and it shifts everything. Everything shifts for you, right? Because copying and pasting stuff, like, sometimes it gets a little wonky if, like, you know, certain things are like warped or unwarped, and then it's like, it's better and easier to do insert time, delete time, than to like copy and paste junk. So anyways, if I had this session, if I pulled this session in the computer, I know I'm just completely going against what I just said, but cut that, and then you want to paste this into the feminine energy area. Boom. And then what I can do is I could cut that, throw that up there, paste, right? And then delete this because I no longer need it. And then you can, if you want to get really weird, you can put this in alphabetical order like I like to do, which is going to be really annoying because I have a bunch of these groups still open right now. So I could go like this, drag it up to feminine energy, right? And now you're good. I'm going to undo that because I don't want to mess this up. Okay, let's see. So we were on easy, right? Let's go to easy.
1, 2, 3, 4. Bass 2, 3, 4.
So the actual song doesn't sound like this, right? I kind of copy and pasted the amount of bars and just like created a moment so where it's like we can have a drum moment, a drum solo, the bass player can play a few lines, I can kind of do this thing on the guitar, and then we get into where she starts singing.
2, verse 2, 3, 4.
So you notice like not too much is happening in the tracks, in the verse, but if we were to take it to the chorus, you get some background vocals, some extra acoustic guitar, and like sometimes we'll have background vocals going on and we'll also still be singing, and the front of house can kind of decide which one sounds better, or like the mix of what he wants, you know what I mean? Okay, gonna hit another play next. Takes you to I Hate Airplanes. You can notice up here, currently playing.
2, 3, 4.
This song's kind of cool. I'll just take you through this arrangement really quick. We did this for like when we were on the Jelly Roll tour. We had access to all the video walls, so it's like it starts off with this giant airplane sound, and like we had like on the video wall like an airplane taking off.
Intro 3, 4.
And if you notice at the end of the song, we do the same thing. And we had like another airplane like going away. So that's like another cool thing about like running playback is it's like you can get really creative with it, you know, which is fun, and like there's really no limitations, you know. Let's keep going. Second Wind is
Intro 2.
This is a song that I play on piano. It's just piano vocal, and it's just really basic. Like, we had all these stems, right? And it's just like, it kind of comes down to like making a moment in your set where it's like we didn't need all this stuff. I think all we decided was like me playing the piano, aka on vocals, and I think we had the strings. So it sounded like this. So again, it's just like, you know, deciding that you don't need slide guitar or synth bass or, you know, any kind of harmonies. It's just like make moments in your show, you know what I mean? Once we're done with that.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
The song called Die Bar Dreamer. We got a loop coming in right here. You notice that this MIDI note turned the guide off, so then you don't hear this count in. And when we're ready, we're gonna hit a button. It's gonna turn that off and this
Intro
back on.
2, 3, 4.
And now we're in the song. Okay, got another play next.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Tall Boys.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So like this little section, all this like boot stomps. I think that was just something like a bunch of samples from Splice and put that together. And if you notice, like most of our songs have like little intros, which really make the whole set kind of flow just by having, we try to avoid dead space as much as possible. And it's like something like this, like boot stops is like, you know, you can make it like a clapping moment for the audience for like engagement and stuff like that. So, so that's a fun one. After that, we're going into I Kinda Don't.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
And this is like you know, the only song that is just like we just played the damn song, you know, no funny business going on. So we play that, it auto stops right here. We go into an acoustic song. I can do anything.
2, 3, 4.
This one's also pretty standard. We just played it like the song. This play next will put us into How Do We Go?
3, 4.
With another loop. So if you notice, right, like when it hits that play next and goes straight to How Do We Go, you don't have to turn the loop on setlist. When the marker goes to loop 16, when it sees that, it will automatically turn it on. So when you're performing, you don't have to think about turning on the loop, it's only turning it off, which is super cool. So if we were gonna do this again, turn the loop off, the guide on, right? This is
Intro 2, 3, 4.
automatically does it for you. We want to turn it off, ready to play the song.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
And we're in. Another crucial thing that I've kind of just like learned in this experience of running playback is if you're gonna loop a section, don't ever have the vocalist come in right when you turn it off. For instance, like this cue says intro, right?
Intro.
Which is like means the band's gonna play a little part and it's not gonna come in on the verse. So it's like, you know, then she has to start singing because if she misses that, it's a lot harder to get back on the tracks, right? Because you usually want to follow, you always want to follow the vocalist. So you want to set it up in a way where you know, you can have the most success. So if you're gonna loop a section, have the band come in for a little musical, you know, part before she starts singing. Because then when she hears intro, band will happen, right?
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
Here comes the band. Look, I even give her this. 1, 2, make it clear as day.
Verse.
You know what I'm saying?
3, 4.
And then she could start singing here. So yeah, there's a good little tip for you. The cool thing that we do in this song too, which is like, you know, I didn't really have to produce anything. It's just like a cool little live arrangement.
2, 3, 4.
The music, the track stops. The click is continuing on, but the track stops. And basically what we do here is I play just like a little bit on the guitar and we get the crowd singing the chorus, right? So it's like, let me hear ya type thing, but it's like we're still on click and like the drummer will be back there like hitting the hi-hat to make sure that like the audience doesn't get off, because there's always like, they're always, you know, not to hate on the audience or anything, but like they usually can't, you know, hear what we're hearing, or, you know, they like to sing their little hearts out. So you got to keep them on track.
Outro, 2, 3, 4.
And then you notice the track comes back in. So it's like we killed the track and brought the track back in, but like we're on click the whole time, so it doesn't really matter. You can kind of do it whatever you want. Let's go to, let's see here. So this is a kind of cool thing that I did. So if you notice, the track starts back here. Like we have this intro. Oh, I muted it. Let's see. Give me a second. Okay, so make sure all this is turned on. Yeah, okay. So here's the marker, right? I have it kind of in the middle of the track, but I have this whole intro. Oops, I have this whole intro. But the other day, it's like she just came to me and she's like, I don't want to do an encore. This is usually our encore song. I was like, okay. So all I did was I moved this marker, which is usually right over here, and I brought it back to right here where I could just start the song. And if you notice, there's like a big bass note, that like bass drop that we don't want. So I just came down here, painted intro, turned that off, muted that. So now we can just start the song right at the top if she wanted to.
Verse, 2, 3, 4.
All right, so if you notice, like you see like our click track here, if you ever seen like it all not like one long thing, you notice that I kind of did some tweaking. So this is just like, we just like extended, you know, just started doubling the outro just like for play out, for like a play out.
4, 1.
And again. And you notice like this isn't really, none of this stuff looks like it's cut up, because I'm constantly going like, I'll work with the crossfades, making sure that nothing's getting cut off weird. I'll highlight everything and I'll go Command J, which is consolidate. Which will just make all the tracks the same length. So once we get to this, we'll hit a play next. It's going to take us to
1,
Everleave,
2,
last song
3,
of the set.
4.
We have a big loop section here too. Okay, so now we're looping. She'll say, thank you so much for coming, we love you, all the good stuff. And when she's like, this song's called Everleave, we're gonna hit that.
Intro,
and we're in
2,
the song
3,
for the
4.
intro.
Verse, 2,
Right, here's the
three,
patch change.
4.
Boom, changed my pedal board. Time code's running the whole time. Right? See that consistent signal? All right, and then here's the end of our set.
1, 2,
A
3.
cue for us. So now click's still going, the band's going nuts, we're doing the whole thing. And then it's gonna stop, and then this big bass drop kind of hits. So then we'll come out and we'll bow and we'll do our thing, and this is just gonna run. And front of house will kind of just slowly bring down the faders. And when we walk off stage, we don't have to worry about turning Ableton off because we have an auto stop. And yeah, that is the whole entire show from top to bottom that we did the other night with all the little tricks and stuff that we do. And yeah, utilizing everything that setlist can do. And again, it just makes life easy. It makes it easy to edit things on the fly. It makes it easier to do, you know, there's other ways to loop in Ableton. There's like a bunch of different ways to do a lot of things in Ableton, but it's just the ease of use and like how fast I can, like when we're in a rehearsal room, AK's like, I want time to talk here. Well, I'm like, okay, well, it shouldn't be like dead quiet. So I'm just like loop 4 bars, boom. And like everyone gets it, you know what I mean? Just go straight into the next song with the play next locator, or like we want to stop here so I could change guitars, right? Change from acoustic to electric, you know, whatever it is. Like on this last tour we did, we had a request section and someone would be like, I want to play We Wouldn't Be Us, which is a song that we haven't played in forever. So our drummer can just go, you know, click on it, add to set list, boom. Here we go.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
You know what I mean? So it's like all of this like grunt work that I did with like putting the whole entire catalog in here has really paid off, because now that I did the work, I don't really have to do the work again. Like I used to build a project, an Ableton project, every single show that we had, and I would do it in the exact order that we did, and it just was very time consuming. And this has made my life a lot easier, and it's really reliable. It's just like it's really a great plugin, and we've enjoyed using it a lot. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, and appreciate you all hanging out.